Hey everybody, I'm here today to give the latest update on our embryo donation journey, and I'm alone today because it's like really hard to find a time where Robert and I can sit down together quietly without the kids barging in or making noise in the background. So I just had to be alone in this video, unfortunately. But basically all I'm going to do is just give an update on what's been happening anyway since the last video I made. So in that last video, we discussed how we were going to actually start searching for recipients, as they're called in this world that I've come to learn. And we talked about who we were looking for in a recipient family. And so today, the update is that we are actively searching. We have put a profile of ourselves on a Facebook group. We've put the profile of ourselves on the website that I mentioned last time, nrfa.org. And so I'm going to kind of show you a little bit about what that looks like. And I'm going to say more specifically what we've been searching for. Also, the one thing I want to address as well is people might be asking, why are you sharing such an important and, really kind of personal part of your life with people that you don't even know, you may know, but you haven't talked to in so long, or, complete strangers and everything in between. And it's because, first of all, I have been really, really open with our infertility and our IVF struggles. And so I feel like this is just a natural step as part of that, but also because embryo adoption, in particular, an open embryo adoption, is like such a foreign concept. This is not something people have in mind when they do IVF. This is something that you somehow stumble upon, or in my case, literally just thought up out of thin air somehow. One day when I was like, what are we going to do with our leftover embryos? But this is not something that people know about, talk about, are familiar with. Like, this is like really out there. And this is a lot, I'm sure a lot of people are like, I could never just give away like my full genetic child with my husband and I, and just give that to a different couple. Like, I know that's hard. It was not the easiest situation to find ourselves in, but the fact of the matter is we had to do something with those embryos. There's no option to do nothing, because doing nothing ultimately would result in them being discarded. And as I said in my first video on this subject, we couldn't bring ourselves to do that. So you kind of are like, what do I do? And I want to be able to spread the word more that this is an option. Embryo donation doesn't just have to be done anonymously through your clinic where you have no clue where your embryos are going. If you want to donate embryos, or if you even want to receive them, this is an option. If you want to be able to find the family that your embryos go to, we have that. You can do that. There are people out there who are totally like wanting to do that as well. And on the other side of it, if you've already done IVF multiple times, if you've had so many failures, if you can't see yourself sinking any more time, money, energy, possible heartbreak into the process, you don't have to do IVF anymore. You can, still go through the whole natural process of having a baby, hopefully, through embryo adoption. So when people say, oh, why don't you adopt? You would think, a live baby, which is, obviously if you want to do that, that's amazing. But a lot of people feel really sad about not being able to like give birth to their own children. I know I would, and I would have never known that this was an option. I would have never thought of this. IVF clinics, fertility clinics, they don't tell patients this right away. They don't tell you this. I don't know when they do, but it's certainly not up front. And so I really want to be able to spread the word that if there's anybody out there who is struggling with infertility or struggling to figure out what to do with their embryos that they have that they're not going to use, open embryo donation, where you choose each other and you make a match yourselves, or actually through an agency. They actually do have agencies for this too. So this is an option. It may sound like a crazy option to most. Your family might not like it at first. Your friends might think you're nuts. I mean, I'm sure I'll get a lot of reactions, either directly or, just, people will keep their thoughts to themselves. Either way, I don't care, because we're doing it either way. But of course, you want everybody to be rooting you on. So this is just the next chapter in my family's life, and we're really excited. We've had our profiles up for today. Yeah, so not even a full week yet. And already we've been in contact with like a bunch of people, and we've had conversations with people, so we'll talk a little bit about that too. But for starters, if you're trying to find a match, if you're a recipient or a donor, one of the best resources is the Embryo Adoption and Donation Support Group on Facebook. This will be where you can post your profile and make matches, ask questions, learn a lot about the process. The other one is nrfa.org, as I've mentioned. So take a look at our profile here. There we are, Amy and Robert. And then, oh, that's a little picture of VN, but we have a bunch of pictures on there. We can discuss, talk about more about me, and then more about him. And then this section talks about what kind of information we have on our embryos, if they're boy or girl embryos, if we even know that information, how many we have, if we've already donated any before. And then we talk about our current children. Here I wrote a big paragraph about River and VN, and what the future looks like after a match is made. So I didn't expect this to be so thorough. It's like really, really thorough. Lot of information to fill out, but the more information the better, because I mean, this is a really, really, really big decision. And we are like, so excited to do this now, where, when we first started toying with this idea, for me at least, I was a lot more emotional about it. I was kind of thinking as the embryos of more like living children. I was kind of thinking of them as River and Vienne, and like, adopting them out. And the more I've gotten into this, the more I've talked about it, it's kind of just taken the emotion out of it and just made us focus more on just actual issues, like who are we looking for? Do they live in California? Do they, just, it's not such an emotional process, at least not yet. I'm sure it will, like, it will happen down the line, but for now it's just very like cut and dry, like this is who we're looking for, and we need to, try to make the best decision that we can make. So let's talk a little bit about who exactly we are looking for. So we are really, 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 really wanting somebody in California, if not a close neighboring state like Nevada or Arizona. I was even looking in Texas, because I don't know why, it seems like the vast majority of people who are looking for open embryo adoptions are like east of the Mississippi. I mean, there's so many people who are from that part of the country. So I'm like, at first, as I'm searching through all these profiles and looking at people, I'm like, I'm gonna have to expand my search. But I have been really lucky to find some pretty good families already that do live in California. So I think we're gonna stick with just looking into California right now. Something that we originally wanted was to have a couple that didn't have children yet. And I quickly realized after just searching through all these profiles that would be really hard to do. And my main reason for that was just because we're gonna be donating 3 embryos, and I just didn't want somebody who has a family with like a bazillion kids. Like, I just wanted them to have like, their 3 kids all in the same family, and that's it. But then I started talking to people and I started hearing their stories, and by the way, their stories are like so heartbreaking. I mean, we had a little bit of a heartbreaking situation when we lost embryos before I got pregnant with River, and these people's stories are like infinitely worse than that. I mean, like multiple failed IVFs where they didn't even get embryos to transfer, and that's just like, I can't even imagine how devastating that is. I mean, I can imagine it, but like, I don't even want to know. So now I've kind of moved from having like strict, I want this and I want this and I want this, to almost like the opposite. I almost feel like I wish I had like more embryos to give, because I just feel like there's so many deserving couples out there, and it's like, well, now how do I choose? But I have been okay now with a couple that has 1 kid. We're okay with that now. We've decided that, that's okay. And now we're talking to multiple families, and now we're even thinking about, having 1 or 2 go to this family and 1 or 2 go to this family. I'm really trying not to have 3 go to 3 different families. That's just a little too much. But yeah, we've loosened up on the requirement to have them all go to 1 family now. And then of course, we want to have a family that is okay with open embryo adoption, which is almost always the case in looking in, you know, searching this way through this website, through Facebook groups. The recipient families are almost always looking for the same thing. So that's good. But, you know, we have to start a conversation and be like, well, what does that look like to you? Does that mean keeping in touch every week, every month, every year? What is that? And I realized that I actually think I want a little bit more contact than I originally thought I did, because I thought it would be really, really hard. But now I'm like kind of excited about it. And now I'm also excited about the idea of now, you know, we've been in communication with these people, and now we're starting to, you know, have some level of relationship. And it's just like, well, I can see me being friends with them. I can see us being friends and having our kids kind of grow up knowing each other and things. So what I originally pictured an open donation / adoption to look like has changed a little bit now, just more into like just a friendship, you know, like just honestly like getting together with any other friends that we have. So for me, that would be my perfect situation, is finding somebody who's okay with that. And now that we have the ball rolling, like I'm the kind of person that just wants to make this happen like right now. Like I don't want to sit on this for another year trying to find the perfect couple from our original requirements and criteria that we had. So now I'm like ready to say like, yes, I see a fit, or see this as a fit, or no, I don't see this as a fit. And I'm really ready to like get this started. So we are still actively searching right now. So if there's anybody out there on YouTube or anybody else that, you know, anybody knows that is looking for embryos and fits these criteria, feel free to reach out to me and we'll see if we can chat. But I do have some good families already I've been in communication with. So, you know, unfortunately, I wish that I had enough embryos for everybody, because I just feel like, oh my God, my heart goes out to them. And I do believe the next video that we make on this subject, we will have decided on who our embryos are going to go to. We'll have 1, if not 2 matches. And that will be really, really, really exciting. That's when it'll get really exciting at that point. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon.